This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Yes, hello. I've been waiting for you. Hello. Oh, hello.
Thanks to an African plume sweeping across the UK, we could be in for a sizzling weekend with temperatures set to reach the same heights as the Costa del Sol, wherever that is. The Met Office said parts of England could see weather in the mid-20s Cs, but has also warned the wet weather seen during the week is not yet over.
Oh, no.
The Costa del Sol is set for temperatures of up to 24 C as well on Saturday, meaning Brits will not have to travel to feel like they're on their summer holiday, says the Mail. Yeah, they could just hang out at Manchester Airport, queuing to get through security. Those people won't be going anywhere either. Forecasters put the sunnier weekend down to a hot weather plume from North Africa, which is sweeping through Europe to give us filthy second-hand EU air. Air that's been used by the French.
Disgusting.
But it's a big, giant, wobbly butt. This balmy weather also brings the danger of thunder, lightning, very, very frightening. Also, we're under attack from pollen, which is probably something to do with the French as well, or maybe it's woke trees or something. No! People are very angry, one way or the other. Richard, out of the Met Office, said tomorrow looks like being the warmest day of the weekend, with temperatures up to 24 C in the south. And you multiply centigrade by 9, divide by 5 and add 32 to get to Her Majesty's Jubilee Fahrenheit. So 24 times 9 is, well, it's almost times 10, isn't it? So let's just say it's about 2,400. 24 times 9 times 2. 2,400 divided by 5 is about 120. And 120 add 32 is 162. Wow! It's going to be 162 degrees Fahrenheit in the southeast tomorrow. You believe that?
No.
Sunday will bring showers moving northwards, so temperatures will probably be a bit lower. Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks?
No.
At first, periods of rain, heavy at times, to far eastern and southern areas, brighter conditions to the west and northwest locations. What? I don't believe that. Towards the end of the week, wetter conditions to the northwest and drier conditions to the southeast. Well, that part I do believe. But I will check while you wait. Starts very, 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 very high. It goes very, very low. Now, wait a minute. Aha. This is Glasgow. Dry tonight and dry tomorrow and dry on Sunday. But don't worry, because normal services resumed on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And every day for the rest of your lives. Raining. Why does it always rain on? Okay, so that's the first couple of weeks. The last week in May, changeable, unsettled at first, drier conditions probable towards the end of the month. So that's the next 2 weeks. Did you get that? And then, the first 2 weeks of June, here it comes, summer. Good luck, everyone. There is a trend toward more settled patterns and overall drier conditions for the end of the month. This will generally lead to fine and dry weather across much of the UK. But some showers or longer spells of rain are still possible in places. Temperatures will be warm or very warm. Temperatures will be warm or very warm. We'll take it. Joe texts, I'm so happy tonight. The village where I live has been told the doctor's surgery is starting face-to-face appointments. Again, mind you, the queue could be a mile long, but hey-ho, maybe we've turned the corner. Yeah, you'll be turning a lot of corners, Joe, mostly at 90 degrees as you edge your way round the block, shuffling in a giant queue. Face-to-face appointments, that is appointments that are only concerned with issues to do with your face. Tom tweets, how much do you think Rees-Mogg really knows about improving efficiency? Efficiency. He wants to know how much you know about improving efficiency, or anything else for that matter.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
He doesn't actually know anything. Isn't that a shocking surprise?
No.
Not really. And there's going to be a moon in the sky, and we've decided to call it the moon. I know that was a future tense. There's going to be a moon. Well, technically, there is going to be a moon in the sky. There continues to be. 2 rare moon events take place at the same time on Sunday night. Isn't that tremendously exciting?
No.
A total lunar eclipse. That's when the Earth is positioned precisely between the sun and the moon so that all 3 are in line. And that will make the moon appear like a glowing red disk in the sky.
Groovy.
Doesn't that sound great? I don't know. This seems highly suspicious to me. I mean, imagine the infinite possibilities and how it got to be that when the moon is in front of the sun, it precisely cuts out the light of that sun. The moon is just big enough and it's just far enough away for that to happen. If there were any difference at all in the size of the moon or its distance from us or the sun, then that wouldn't happen. Isn't that incredible? Suspicious, I think. Someone should look into that. Maybe that space hippie off the TV. You know, oh, look at the stars. Oh, they're so amazing. That bloke. It's going to be a blood moon, and the reason it's called a blood moon is because it's in our shadow, and so something about light bending, who cares? On top of that, the moon will it'll appear red for 75 minutes. 75 short minutes. So you see it and it's gone. But you won't see it because you'll be asleep. Because it happens between about 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. Only people who have been up all night, like Michael Gove, are going to see it. You'll see it from the top deck of the bus as you try to stay awake on the way home. Another celestial marvel will pass without notice. It's a blood moon, and it's going to be a super moon as well, a super blood moon. And it's a super moon because it's going to be near us, very, very dangerously near us. It's like a near miss, which actually isn't a near miss, is it? It's a near collision, technically, but plane people don't want to say that. They don't want to say that because that'll alarm the passengers. Oh, it's okay. We just had a near collision. Sounds much worse than a near miss. Well, they didn't have a near miss. They missed. They weren't nearly missing. Nearly missing is crashing. And they're actually in charge of flying planes. What could possibly go wrong? The last total lunar eclipse for Britain occurred in the early hours of January the 21st in 2019. And I bet you missed that one too. 2019. Oh, it seems like years ago, doesn't it? 0345 6060 973. Jenny texts, should Keir resign if he gets a fine? Oh. Well, he said he will now, so he'll have to. I swear the Labour Party do specialise in shooting themselves in the foot, don't they? It's like they're playing a game of football and they're presented with an open goal, and then, instead of shooting into that goal, they pop down to a gun shop, purchase a rifle, and then blast their own foot off. They're hopeless. Because if you think that Bodge is going to resign if Keir Starmer does the decent thing, then I've got an airport on an island in Essex I'd like to sell you. Hey, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
No chance. 50 new fines. Can you believe it? The Metropolitan Police has issued 50 new fines for breaches of COVID rules in Downing Street and other government buildings. These people should be punished to within an inch of their lives, except they probably like it. It's been an orgy of transgression over at your place, eh, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
The 50 new fixed penalty notices follow more than 50 handed out last month, including but not limited to Bodger Johnson, his current wife, Carrie Johnson, and Chancellor, not Chancellor, Chancellor Fishy Sunak. No! The latest penalties are thought to involve a Christmas Day party in December 2020, which Johnson did not attend. Can you believe that? He was not invited to his own Christmas party on Jesus' birthday. Number 10 has promised to reveal any further fines imposed on the Prime Minister. Yeah, really. They promised, have they? Oh, well, I believe you. Was that the same kind of promise that they made about revealing the contents of Sue Gray's report? Or the promise about not raising taxes? Or the promise about putting a border down the Irish Sea? Or the promise about having an oven-ready Brexit deal? Or the promise of building 300,000 new houses? Or 40 new hospitals? Or there being more people in work now than before the pandemic? Any of those promises come true yet?
No.
Not really. I mean, you could say that they were disseminating misinformation. Liar! Exactly. I mean, it would be quicker to name the promises that they have kept, rather than list the ones they haven't in a brief 3-hour show. But you will let us know if you've been fined again, won't you, Bodge? Yes. He's promised. They really do think we're complete idiots, don't they?
Yes.
Yes, they do. With good reason. With good reason. This whole country needs to take a look at itself. The Met Office... No, well, it might as well be the blooming Met Office, mightn't it? The Met Police have been investigating 12 gatherings, at least 3 of which Bodge is known to have attended. As he arrived for a special cabinet meeting taking place at a pottery in Staffordshire, where he dressed up in somebody else's work clothes for a photograph. Again. The PM was asked whether he was shocked at the scale of law-breaking in Number 10. His answer, "We'll have plenty to say about that when the thing's finished." Well, OK, what thing? If you're talking about the inquiries, they will never be finished. Ever. When the reports are written and the inquiries are done, there will be new reports and inquiries instigated into the reports and the inquiries that have been done, so that they can say, well, it would be improper to say anything until the new reports and inquiries submit their findings. I'd love to say more. Literally no amount of your money will be spared to defend the indefensible Bodge and his calamitous cavalcade of clownery. Try putting that 3-word slogan on one of your lecterns, Bodge. Calamitous cavalcade of clownery. I mean, at least it would have the benefit of being true. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
I am not one of your fans!
Tony texts, can I just say now, especially as you get so weighed down with texts, I agree/disagree, depending, with everything you say over the next 3 hours. Well, that's just a polite text, Tony.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. David says, I can't believe your serial lying Prime Minister lied about the oven-ready Brexit deal. Well, he's he's not to be trusted, eh, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Leave him alone. He's doing his best. Sue texts, hello, lovely Nick. Hello, Sue. Are you looking forward to the Jubilee weekend? Lots going on down here in Swanage, a street party in town with a sit-down tea party for 600. What are you doing? Very aggressive, Sue. Well, I'm not doing that for a start. A sit-down tea party for 600. Blimey. Another excellent reason not to go to Swanage. 600 people. What are you going to eat? Bring your own food. Bring your own business supplies.
Booze.
Graham says, have you seen the 47th at the Old Vic? If not, you bloomin' need to. No, I have not. That's that must be about the 47th President of the United States of America.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
Yeah, that smart person.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Yeah, the person with no strategy.
There's no strategy. I have no strategy. There's zero strategy.
He's an idiot.
Don't be rude.
No, I have not seen the 47th of the Old Vic, Graham. I don't know, plays. I'm not really big on plays. I find them a bit uncomfortable. That's the word. I found them uncomfortable. Because I'm just sitting there thinking, what if they forget their lines? I find it quite difficult to get past that because it's not real. It's some people on a raised platform shouting. Even if they're speaking softly, they're still shouting because they have to be heard at the back. So they're projecting. It just all looks... I can't get beyond the fakery of it. Which, weirdly, musicals seem to get past for me because they're already fake. There's nothing normal about a musical. In real life, people do not spring into song, even if they're happy. But plays, I'm just sitting there like there is a certain tension with it because I can't get past, what if they forget? I don't know how they remember all that stuff in the first place. How'd you do it? Jacob says, is Jacob Rees-Mogg an alien? Why are you putting each text on its own page?
I don't know why it's doing that.
Because, I normally get like 18 pages of texts through the course of a show, but I've already got 18 pages because you put them all on different pages.
I'm so sorry.
He's very, very apologetic.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
Apology not accepted. Katrina texts, never mind what that handsome devil Dean says. You're as fresh as a newborn babe, says Katrina. I'm doubling security, Katrina. Bell says, I think MP's expenses should be capped at 30p per meal, as Tory MP Lee Anderson suggests we can all cope with that amount. Reckon they'll go for it, says Bell. I'm thinking...
No.
It's a maybe. Put them down as a maybe. Rodney texts, I much prefer to be on the dark side of the moon. Well, as a matter of fact, there is no dark side of the moon. No, wait, I screwed that up. Oh. Damn it! There is no dark side of the moon. As a matter of fact, it's all dark. There you go. Funny how you remember right at the end. That's an advert that's so old, and it just pops right out. It's in me, and it popped right out. I bet the child next door's got no idea what I'm talking about. Funny how you remember right at the end.
Yeah, no.
No, not at all. I don't know what they teach kids in school these days. They're an absolute disgrace. Chris says, owl watchers will see the blood moon. Owl watchers. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so will curb crawlers. Come to think of it. Oliver says, I was looking for my passport for ages today. Eventually I found it. My mate said, it's always in the last place you look. Well, of course it's always in the last place you look. I don't keep looking for something once I've found it. He yells. It's the same thing with buses. You stand at a bus stop and 3 go by in the opposite direction. You think, God, yeah, blooming typical. I'm stood here waiting for a bus and 3 go in the opposite direction. Well, the reason that always happens is you don't wait for 3 to come by before you get on one. You get on the first one. So 3 never come by where you're standing because you always pick the first one that comes by, you idiot. And I mean that in a supportive way. Richard texts, as Sir Keir Starmer is pompous, self-righteous and bores the living daylights out of everyone, he's completely unfit to be a British PM. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, we want funny. Get that bloke, I don't know, who's funny on television these days? Who's funny on television these days?
Jacob Rees-Mogg.
You're going to have men in black jumpsuits smashing through your windows and spraying the room with gunfire. You do realise that, don't you? At the very least, they will be tapping your phones and they'll be investigating you with both hands. Don't you worry about that. That's the kind of comment that gets a person punished. Rona texts, Michael Gove, what the hell was that about? Yeah. Well, there was a word that was trending on Twitter in conjunction with Michael Gove's little performance on the telly. I am loath to repeat it on this show, but it was trending. And I thought, why is that trending? Why is that particular product trending while Michael Gove is, is going... on television. Why is that trending, I thought. Curious. Anyways, Rona says, what the hell was that about? I'm still laughing, and it's not because I've had 3 tequilas.
Booze.
I could go for 3 tequilas right now, as a matter of fact. I'll do Michael Gove in a minute. And let me rephrase that. I'll do a story about Michael Gove in a minute. Better. Edward texts, Nick Abbott for Chancellor and Annie from Carnforth for PM. Forget the election. How soon can both of you take occupancy in Downing Street? First thing Monday morning, Edward. Well, not first thing Monday morning. After lunch? After lunch on Monday. Well, in the morning on Tuesday. Wednesday afternoon? Thursday. We'll come in Thursday. Well, it's towards the end of the week. There's no point in starting on the Thursday. How about the following week? Just pencil me in for never. Is never free? Let's have a call in Camden. Hello, Claire.
Hi, Nick.
Take your time, Claire.
I am the... Sorry. The nice man on stilts.
Who?
Told us that there are the nice man on stilts.
The nice man on stilts, right.
The smug nice man on stilts.
Right, okay, the ghostly hat, the ghostly hat stand.
I don't know anything.
Yeah.
He told us that there are really big benefits from Brexit.
None of which he could mention at the moment, off the top of his head.
The thing...
Is there a delay at your end, Claire? It's like... Are you on the International Space Station? Or in a submarine? Go ahead.
A submarine might be useful.
Yes, that's right, because we're all going down.
But the thing is that this big lump of golden benefits are somewhere on the sea floor of the ocean of time.
The sea floor of the ocean of time.
Groovy.
Wow, you've blown my mind.
So we have 2 options.
Yeah, option 1.
Either we drain out the ocean of time.
Yeah, draining out the ocean of time. There wasn't an album by Yes. Draining out the ocean of time.
I don't.
Yeah, very, very good one. Go ahead.
Or we just sit down and wait for time to drain itself, to finish.
The second option. Does it involve?
And
then we'll see. Does it involve not doing anything?
And then we'll be able to very easily go to this big shiny lump of benefits.
The big shiny lump of benefits.
It will be really big and really shiny.
Yeah, really big and shiny. It'll be absolutely massive. Like a cow. Nobody will have ever seen such a big shiny lump.
Yeah, but we will very easily be able to see it because we'll be able to walk on the sea
surface
floor
of
under
the moon.
the ocean of time.
Right. Wow. That makes a lot of sense, Sir Claire. And I appreciate every single syllable. I didn't understand any of it, but I appreciate all of it.
Thank you.
0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Now I have to scroll up 17 pages to see what's on the top. Wait a minute. It's 10:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Jack Foster.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Fucking places goes on inside that head of yours.
Too complicated to go into at the moment. Mike texts, a total lunar eclipse. Isn't that something to do with Bonnie Tyler? Yes, it is. Thanks a lot, Bonnie Tyler. See what you've done? Caroline says, is Jacob Rees-Mogg an alien? Yeah, in almost every situation in which he finds himself. Yes. Paul says, Boris Johnson's off to Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland with a pocket full of pre-broken promises and armed with his best Irish jokes to bring peace, harmony and goodwill. He's gone to Northern Ireland. Oh, no. What could possibly go wrong? Southend. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Nick, first-time caller.
Oh, good, man.
Yeah, I've just going to have a rant because my eldest son, Oliver, said he's fed up hearing me ranting about politics. I'll rant at you. Michael Gove.
Michael Gove.
What the heck? Who the hell put him as housing minister, you know?
It's also very, what would Donald Trump do? Donald Trump would put somebody in charge of an institution or organisation that they are ideologically opposed to existing.
The man is just an idiot. It's just like everything he touches, he's useless. In fact, the whole party's useless. I'm just fed up with it all.
Right.
So I'm just moaning at my son and say it's all his fault because these youngsters don't vote. And they've got to vote. And he said, but Dad, I'm only 16. Well, make sure you vote at 18. That's
exactly, yeah.
Get yourself sorted out. I think I'm sorting him out now, like priming him. I said, I don't care who you vote for. Well, I do actually, but, you know, as long as he follows me, he'll be fine.
Don't tell, no, if I am anything to go by, tell him to do the opposite of what you want him to do, and that's what he'll do.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. it all adds up. We've just got to get rid of these bleeding clowns.
Right.
Absolutely driving me nuts.
Right, send out the clowns. Thanks very much, Paul. He's mad as hell and he's not going to take it anymore. Rona says, Michael Gove, what the hell was that about? I'm still laughing. Oh, no, that's right. I've read this one already. The Three Tequilas.
Booze.
Michael Gove. I was going to have the sound effects to go with this, but I emailed it to somebody who, I don't know, maybe they've left. So it's out in the ether somewhere. So you'll have to, I'll have to do it myself. I'm going to do impressions on the air.
Oh, no.
Liverpudlians have reacted with a mixture of confusion. They looked at him on TV and went, oh? So did I. Liverpudlians have reacted with a mixture of confusion and fury after Michael Gove used a faux Scouse accent to tell people to calm down about the cost of living crisis. In the discussion with Dan Walker on BBC Breakfast this week, Michael Gove ruled out an emergency budget to provide more help for struggling families coping with soaring food, fuel and energy prices. As well as speaking with an American accent, he's a levelling up secretary. How's levelling up going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
That's what I thought. The levelling up secretary parodied a comedian Harry Enfield's Scousers sketch as he resisted calls for the government to provide more financial support. Because, you know, if you're drowning in a sea of poverty, it makes it easier if the politicians make fun of you. Dan Walker, out of television, later took to Twitter to express his bafflement at Mr. Gove's performance. He said, I've watched our interview back a few times now, still trying to work out what happened. I hope Michael Gove is okay, which is the sort of concern that will lose the BBC a lot of money. Furious Liverpudlians took aim at the politician on Twitter for what they said was Mr. Gove's trivialising of the cost of living crisis using Enfield's words. One said, Gove did a faux Scouse calm down on BBC Breakfast, in case you were wondering how much bleep they were taking out of us. I mean, it does seem as though they are actively laughing in our faces and telling us that it's the wind. I mean, I know I've said this before, but I do think that they get up in the morning and think, what can we do to them today that they will try and find an excuse for? I mean, it must be an entertaining diversion for them, you know, between the hard slog of diversifying their assets and filling in their expenses forms. Another tweeted, he's a first-class weapon. Cost of living crisis and he breaks into stupid voices. It says everything about this government. A first-class weapon. Not that kind of weapon. Mr. Gove was appearing on the BBC after Prime Minister Boris Johnson had sown confusion in his response to the Queen's speech. Johnson warned that there were limits on how much public money he was prepared to commit, but told MPs, "The Chancellor and I will be saying more about this in the days to come," which made people think that he was going to say more about it in the days to come. And they immediately said, "Oh, no, we've said everything we're going to say." It sparked immediate speculation of a helpful intervention by the Treasury. But both it and Number 10 were quick to rule out an imminent special announcement. So they'll say more about it, but not say anything that might, actually help. They could say something like, "Why can't you feckless layabouts simply cook a nutritious, value-for-money meal out of a bit of dirt and some spit?" Labour has demanded an emergency budget, saying that swift action is needed with inflation, warning to hit, expected rather, to hit 10% by October, off the back of rising household bills and food costs. But Mr. Gove accused journalists of over-interpreting the PM's remarks. You remember the PM said that they were going to say more about it, which implied that he was going to, actually do something helpful, rather than just to talk about it a bit more. I mean, when a Prime Minister says, "I'm going to say more about this," it doesn't just mean that he's going to say more about it. It implies that he's actually going to do something about it. You do realise that you're the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, don't you, Bodge? He said, Gove accused journalists of over-interpreting the PM's remarks. He says, "It's an example of some commentators chasing their own tails and trying to take a statement that is commonsensical, turning it into a major, capital letters, big news story," he said. And he said it like that. And if you haven't seen the video, you'll be stunned. He said, "And in fact, when the Treasury quite rightly say, 'Calm down,' and he said it like that too, people, instead of recognising that they have overinflated the story in the first place, then they say, 'Oh, this is clearly a split.'" He said, "The truth is the Prime Minister says government is working hard, and the Treasury say, 'Yes, we are,' and I'm afraid the budget is going to be when we said it would be. That becomes a story, no." My telling of it doesn't quite capture the sort of open-mouthed amazement that you will be in when you see it for the first time, if you haven't already seen it. And if you haven't already seen it, have you been on holiday? Have you been queuing to get through Manchester Airport? Gove later, more calmly, told Sky News there won't be an emergency budget. It's sometimes the case that the words from a Prime Minister are over-interpreted. Accused of doing nothing for families, the PM said he and the Chancellor would have more to say on the squeeze in the days to come. But the Treasury said they were bemused by that remark, stressing that it is still not clear where energy bills will land in October, and pouring cold water on the idea of an emergency budget. One government aide said the Premier seemed to have been freelancing, freebasing more like. Just say no, kids. In fact, just say no thank you. I mean, good manners don't cost nothing, do they?
Be polite!
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Let's have Durham. Margaret.
Hi, Nick.
Margaret.
Little word about Michael Gove. Mm-hmm. I love his little face. I find it cute, adorable, like, little boys are taught one. It's lovely. But it's his accent. It's his language. Now, I'm from the north of England where we speak the real language, the straight A's. We don't say class or pass. We say class and pass, the way it ought to be. You guys in the south have no idea.
What do you put jam and cream on for tea?
A scone, not a scone.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's an incorrect answer,
anyway,
Margaret.
Michael, I love Michael's accent. I love the way he speaks. It really has me enthralled. It really does. I study language. And I remember when we went through it during the lockdown, where pubs could have people in if a meal was meant to be substantial. And I always remember seeing him interviewed one night, and he said, oh yes, indeed. I would consider this to be a substantial meal. And I just fell off my chair in the kitchen. I thought, dear God, affectation. A substantial meal. the guy doesn't know how to speak the language.
Okay.
But he's cute for all that.
What a
He's
lovely
cute.
little face he's got.
He has a lovely little face. And the way he
For
uses
a
the language,
chihuahua.
it's cute. I chuckle, and then I listen. Then I read his wife, who writes lovely articles about the night they had Joan Collins for dinner, and the quail's eggs, darling, burst all across Joan Collins' silk shirt. Isn't that lovely? Now I read that when my husband takes this Tory rag, and I read that and I just chuckle all the way. So no wonder he is as he is, bless him. He's a canny lad, and he's got a lovely face. But I wish he'd just talk. And, well, you all should talk. I mean, none of you know how to speak the language down there.
Margaret, I can barely understand a word you're saying. Your tongue is so in your cheek. I can practically understand like every other word, and that's about it.
Well, there you are. Well, thank you for understand some of it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Margaret. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
0345 6060 973. Diane texts, if Boris could be likened to a dog, which breed would you compare him to? I don't know, just anyone that's not been house trained. 0345 6060 973, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
Yeah, sadly, yes. Archie texts, just a thought, but could a blood moon thus be termed because it is red? Yeah. That's exactly why it's termed a blood moon. It's red because of the light that bends. Oh, who cares? Andrew says, it's an education, this show, isn't it? Every now and again, it becomes very, very educational. Andrew says, are you going to clip up Michael Gove's Funny Voices interview? Well, I've done that already, but it's sitting on somebody's email pile. They haven't got to it yet. It's beyond my ability. I can't do everything. Archie texts, if Musk is the richest man on the planet, how come he has to borrow money to buy Twitter? Good point, Archie. Well, he's rich. He's not stupid. I think that's rule number one, isn't it? Don't use your own money. Especially for a business that hadn't made any money. I mean, it's all these tech companies that are worth £86 trillion, and they've never made a penny in profit. Well, the whole world's gone insane. JR texts, on the two previous occasions where the Queen has missed the state opening of Parliament, the Lord Chancellor read out the speech. No wonder Charles stepped in, as the current Lord Chancellor is Dominic Deckchair Raab.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine the uproar if he read it? Yeah, I'd rather hear Chaz. Eddie says, does anyone know how much the government wastes on inquiries? Well, as much as it takes for them to get off the hook. If an inquiry says that Bodge is illegal, indecent, dishonest and fake, then they'll launch another inquiry into that inquiry. I promise that they'll do that. They will never, ever, ever end on a negative note. They will always launch another one, which will bizarrely be published just like an hour before the House rises for the summer holidays, all going on their jolly holidays. And if we all still remember it by the time they get back, after 57 weeks on holiday, then they will launch another inquiry to make sure that they don't have to say anything for another 6 weeks, or 6 months, or 6 years, or however long it takes. No amount of money is too much when it comes to protecting themselves. Hagar texts, if Keir is adamant that he abided to lockdown rules, then why has he promised to resign if fined? Because he was asked. They kept asking him over and over and over again. The offshore billionaire right-wing press trying to put us off the scent of the vaulting criminality around number 10. 100 fines already. It must be the largest concentration of criminality on the face of the earth outside of possibly the headquarters of a Mexican drug cartel. And they're still claiming they did nothing wrong. Or it's none of our business. Or we should move along. Or the public are no longer interested in this story. Or it's piffle. Or it's just the fluff of politics. Or etc. and so on. What they find really, really aggravating and annoying is that we won't let it go, because we are really angry about it. It's not just any old story about them giving us rules that they don't follow. We would expect that. but people actually had their lives ruined by this. And for Smug to stand up then and say, "Oh well, the reason that his ilk didn't obey the rules was that the rules were bad," that's his latest bloomin' excuse. One's going to have to look at the rules to see they were too much. Just that bloke. I mean, really. Is there another country in the world that would elect a person like that? Can you think of any? On Earth? So that's the latest excuse is, the rules were no good. That's why we had to break all the rules, is because, they were bad rules. I see. Who came up with the bad rules? Can you remind us? Ein Tech, not that Ein, presumably. She being, crazy and dead. Ein texts, earlier in the week, Michael Gove gave his best interview to date. This certainly is my favourite. And tells us a lot about Michael Gove that we didn't already know. Or it underlines a lot about Michael Gove that we did already know. Zoe texts, what do you think of Sadiq Khan and his endorsement of weed?
Want to score some pot?
What do I think? I think, how's the war on drugs going?
Oh, fabulous.
I rest my case. The war on drugs is going abysmally badly. All of the money is in the hands of the criminals. The product on the streets is unidentified. You've got absolutely no idea, the kids, what they're taking before they've taken it. It's a total failure in every way, shape and form. Most of the rest of the Western world is moving on, but we're still digging our heels in this country, pretending that we can win the war on drugs. All we've got to do is get tougher. And there's a certain element, an element that has got absolutely no idea what they're talking about, or are using this issue for their own evil ends. A certain element who want to keep the war going. Politicians are frightened to death about saying anything about this, because there will be a slew of bad stories in the press who ignore the bad stories at the moment. I mean, another heroin user dies of an overdose, or a cocaine user dies because it's actually rat poison they bought, not cocaine, or whatever it might be. They ignore all those stories because, they're junkies, who cares? But the press will be all over stories from now until the end of time if a politician actually puts through the legalization or decriminalization of one or more drug, like they have done in Portugal and Spain and Amsterdam and America and Germany and France and you name it, they've done it. But not here, because we're fighting the war on drugs. All we need to do is get tougher. That'll work. Just do the same thing that's not worked for the last 50 years again. And then wait for great success. That's what I think about Sadiq Khan and his endorsement of weed. I don't think he was endorsing weed. I think he was disendorsing this phony war on drugs. I mean, if at first you don't succeed, and if then for 50 years straight that you don't succeed, maybe it might be a good idea to try something else. Just a thought. Liam says, is Lee Anderson a deleted scene from Monty Python's Four Yorkshiremen sketch? It does appear as though we are in, I don't know about, it is either a Monty Python sketch, like specifically the Upper Class Twit of the Year sketch. A bodge. Exactly. Or we're in some sort of psychedelic cartoon.
Yowza.
And I think that's maybe where Michael Gove has been living this week, in a psychedelic cartoon.
Groovy.
What's the weather like in there, Michael? Well, I've turned off my mind, relaxed and floated downstream. He's got no idea. Jim text, do you know when Halley's Comet is due to pass the Earth next? It seems like ages since it was last here. I reckon that Sue Gray's report into the Downing Street parties will come out before it happens again. Halley's Comet. Halley's Comet? Halley's Comet. I've no idea, Jim. and precious little interest. I mean, unless it's going to slam into us and ruin our afternoon, I really don't care. Things that happen celestially are really usually quite boring. But that blood moon, that might be quite interesting because, as I said, it's at its nearest point to the Earth, the perineum, or is that something else? Have I just said something? If I just use a medical term,
Disgusting.
Isn't it the perineum? Is it the perineum?
I don't know why you're asking.
No, he has got absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. He doesn't listen to this show. The host is an idiot. Tom says, Bill Bailey for Labour leader. He's funny, and he can play the guitar. Can he? I saw him play the keyboards once. That was amusing. I mean, in a good way. He was trying to be funny at the time. I keep thinking back to Les Dawson playing the piano badly. It's one of the funniest things that he ever did. And you knew what was coming, and you couldn't stop yourself laughing, but also you were in pain because every fibre of your being is expecting a note, and then he hits the wrong one. But it's not just a wrong one, it's the wrong one to produce the kind of effect in you that he did. I mean, that was really clever. And as many people have no doubt already said, you've got to be able to play pretty well to be able to play that badly. Genius. If you haven't seen Les Dawson play the piano badly, then look it up on the World Wide Web. I bet it's on YouTube. Gwenny tweets, under the new policing bill, would the government not be investigated yet again for spreading misinformation? Liar! Yes. Except no. Because as we have already found out, and has been proved over and over again, the rules don't apply to them. Just to us. Just to us, the little people, not leprechauns. Jan says, what do you think of the bottle of champagne signed by Johnson and labelled a souvenir of Partygate? I won't tell you what I think. You'd be off the air if you read it out, says Jan. Well, they say that they had absolutely no idea. Ollie says he had no idea that was on there. But it seems to be to type, doesn't it? Laughing at us. Yeah, that seems on brand to me. 0345 6060 973, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Shut up.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Yes, certainly, dear. It's perigee. The word you're looking for is perigee, says Neil. If Halley's Comet came anywhere near your... Yeah, I knew I got that wrong. Incorrect. Please disregard everything I've said on this show so far. Every time I move, there's a noise. Have you noticed? It's like I'm living in a permanent earthquake. But you know me, I never complain.
Stop whining.
Mike says, Tim Farron said he wasn't sure what Michael Gove had for breakfast, but whatever it was, the Lib Dems would want to legalise it. Get Peter Tosh on the phone. He can sing it for us. Ealing. Hello, John.
Hello.
John.
Hey, do you know... you were talking about earlier on, you were talking about the alignment. This is not why I'm ringing, but just because it's a full moon, you're getting some odd calls.
Yeah.
You know, the alignment of the moon, and it's seeming to happen in such a way that it's just perfectly aligned.
Weird. It's highly suspicious.
I think the moon is a communist.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that kind of cooperation, and there has to be some kind of an agenda.
It does. It does appear to be there seems to be a bit of wokeness there. I think it's a woke satellite. That's my opinion.
I think so. But listen, we can stick to that, whatever anyone else tells us. But what I was going to say was the MP. I don't know his name. The fellow that said you could survive on 20p's worth of shopping, and at the same time claiming 200 and something £1,000 a year. It actually amazes me because listen, I'd be happy to go with this if Sauce was for the goose and the gander. If they were going to say that the Strangers Bar in the House of Commons and the other bars that we subsidise would only do bare basic food for 20p. Then at least I could say, well, fair enough. Then they understand this, but they don't. They're not masters of cutting their cloth accordingly.
Oh, are you kidding me? Of course they aren't. Quarter of a million pounds a year they can claim for in expenses.
But this is what makes it so bloody annoying, because it's just like, I know they're trolling us and but I just think they have got such a disconnect between, I've spoken to you before, I'm working, my wife's working and stuff, got children, we budget, we've been budgeting since we've been married, and it's, we just do our best and that's it. But the idea that the situation that we're in is somehow self-inflicted because I can't knock up a spag bol is absolute, manure. But that's the classic thing. They come out with this stuff, and then Rees Mogg just came out today. The haunted pencil. Yeah, he came out again, and he goes, "Well, I can't cook."
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do with this?
Well, he's still, clinging to his act, and his act is that he is so posh that one's nanny does everything for one.
She does all my petty for.
He's untouched by the modern world, and all these people that keep going on about, he's the member for the Edwardian era and all that sort of stuff. He's playing into his act. He loves that.
He does love it. I've spoke to somebody who I know someone who was at school with him, and it's an affectation.
Oh God, he's the most affected person that I think I've ever seen.
With. Yeah, he's almost lost himself.
Well, he's got no idea where he ends and his act starts.
That's the point. And the thing is, it sickens me to hear working class people talk about the government actually being people, representing working people.
You look at the demographic that voted these people in, and they are the poorest and the oldest among us, the least well off. That's their demographic. It's really bizarre, but without the old poor, Jeremy Corbyn would have been our Prime Minister, and we would not have left the European Union.
But I must admit, this sounds really horrible. I must admit it, because I have family members. But, I almost kind of I'm looking forward to the baby boom generation shuffling off. Because they just, I know that's cruel, but it's just like they had free education, free NHS, all of these things they pulled up the rope and actually stopped everyone else from having. And then they're complaining about their pensions, going, "Oh, you're going to cut our pensions," when the NI contributions that I make and I've made for many years, and my children make, will never give us a pension. They don't care about us. So there's a very selfish generation. How can you go from the war and austerity and all that stuff and then suddenly become a right-wing Tory? I have no idea.
Well, I'll tell you how. By buying your own house. That's the truth.
Well, that didn't work out well, did it? See, listen, Thatcher's chickens are coming home to roost now, aren't they? With all the selling off of our gas and electric and...
I don't know. A small number of people did fantastically well out of it. I think that was the plan.
Yeah, but it's short-termism, as you say.
Yeah, well, they're in and out in a short term. It's not a government, it's a smash and grab raid. That's the short-termism part. You get in, you smash everything up, you take as much as you can, and then you get out, and then somebody else can deal with it.
The gaffes keep coming. You've got Zakawi, who doesn't even know
it's not gaffes.
Who Dennis Waterman is.
Yeah, they're not gaffes.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Do you remember when David Cameron said his favourite food is the Cornish Pasty Company, and he has it when he goes to Cornwall, and the shop has been shut for 5 years? It's that kind of thing. It's just like, will we stop blagging and just tell
just try and be real. Just try. That's the problem. Is if they were actually real with us, as opposed to just playing these games and these doing their act, then nobody would vote for them, because the reality is not what people like. People like that whole that sort of larger than life cartoon.
Bombastic,
like we're living in the Beano comic.
So, I mean, listen, case in point, when you think about the fact that Keir Starmer has said, I will resign if I'm charged for this party thing, right? And all you're getting is people like Dominic Raab, Grant Shapps, bestowing the virtues of honesty. And it's absolutely breathtaking, the hypocrisy.
Well, Dominic Raab has got the nerve to call Keir Starmer hypocritical for not resigning immediately he was investigated, when Bodge himself, the Prime Minister of this country, has already been fined, at least once to our knowledge, maybe multiple times. There's 100 fines that have been showering on at least him and the people that he is immediately surrounded by, and still nothing happened. If Keir Starmer does resign, the notion, the very idea that Boris Johnson would do the, in inverted commas, decent thing...
He would never resign.
Ever. Never, ever, ever,
and
ever,
what they'll then say, they'll say that Keir Starmer proved he wasn't a leader because he was weak and he resigned.
It's exactly right. He will have been shown up to not fight for himself.
It's like that old argument, Nick, well, is he prepared to press the nuclear button? Well, clearly, Boris isn't, because Putin has just gotten away with everything he's gotten away with. And what have we done? Nothing.
Well, I don't know if we've done nothing. I think what Bodge has done with the war in Ukraine is use it to strut about on the world stage, giving it the big I am, acting like Churchill, and gambling the future of this country and indeed the planet on him being right. And if he isn't right, and Vladimir Putin smashes his weirdly small hand down on the big red button on his desk, then Bodge will be okay, because they've got a network of nuclear bomb shelters, no doubt, underneath Westminster, which he will repair to with some hot Tory totty who may become his next wife. And the rest of us, well, we'll be a burnt cinder. That's the ultimate downside. But the upside is he gets to be a hero again.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
But Nick, could I just say before I go?
Go on.
Could you have a word with your telephonist guy, the fellow there? Because he needs to have a word with himself for printing out pages with just one email on it.
Yeah. That's not saving the planet. All right. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. Lynn tweets, looking at the moon has been spoiled for me since I know I am looking at the size of Australia. I just imagine Oz tumbling around. Huh? The moon is the size of Australia. Is that true? Is that a true fact?
I don't think so.
We don't think so. That is Lynn being disingenuous. Liar! The size of Australia? Heather says, do you think the DUP assembly members are refusing their wages while they're refusing to assemble? Well, I don't know, but I'm going to guess. No. And furthermore... No. That might concentrate their minds, though, if you don't get no wages if you refuse to assemble. Stephen says, why are you so loud tonight? Can you keep it down? I'm trying to sleep. Sorry about that. Am I loud? I thought we always came out at the same volume. Maybe... Here's an idea, Stephen. Why don't you turn me down if I'm too loud? You idiot. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, couple of bits. Partygate and the DUP. I'm a bit worried about Partygate because if the Met are to be trusted, which maybe they are or aren't, they said they were going to investigate the parties in date order. Now, according to Ben and Theo, the latest 50 fixed penalty notices relate to the December the 18th party. Mm-hmm. And the only one that comes after that is the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, which Bodger wasn't at, because he was at Chequers. Right. So he might not get another fine, and that quite worries me, given that he attended 6 of them, apparently. It looks as though he's going to dodge it.
He hasn't dodged anything of the sort. He's had a fine already. He was at the very epicentre of criminality, the likes of which this country has never seen.
Well, I mean, dodge another one. But anyway, other than that, DUP, I'm a bit puzzled about all of this.
Well, now hang on a minute. Get another one. So he's got to get 2 before he even considers, or before his supporters would even consider asking for his resignation. And Keir Starmer, he gets to get gone if he gets just one.
Yeah, it's totally unfair. I mean,
well, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
He gets ambushed by a cake. Well, if he gets another one, he can't use that again. And it would appear, if that's true about the dates, that the other party has gone behind as well, which is the one I was really hoping he was going to get nailed for, because that was in his own private dwelling. And, the one to celebrate Cummings' demise.
So they had a party in his own private dwelling to which he wasn't invited. Yeah, that sounds likely.
Well, yeah, he can't get out of that one. So I thought that is absolutely conclusive. And even the waverers who were shouted ambushed by a cake couldn't get away with that one.
Yeah, never mind about the inquiry. Let's just get straight to the punishment.
But DUP, what puzzles me a bit about this is why everybody, EU, Ireland, our government, and everybody isn't saying to them, right, you don't want to play, fine, next election comes in 5 months. But everyone in Northern Ireland will be so heaved off with you not solving Northern Ireland's problems, you'll lose votes. And if you don't want to play next time, in 5 months we have another election, you will become irrelevant. Get your act together, get in the Assembly and do something useful for Northern Ireland whilst you're protesting. And they will bottle it eventually, because if they keep doing this, they will lose a lot of popularity. My mate's married to an Irish girl who has a Catholic father, Protestant mother, and both sides of the family said they're still voting Unionist or nationalist on either side of the family, but all of them said apparently that if their side loses, whichever side it was, and doesn't play ball, they would vote Alliance next time, because they're sick of the arguments between DUP and Sinn Féin. They just want Northern Ireland governed.
Oh, yeah, for crying out loud, just get on with it. I mean, it's like trying to corral like kittens. I can't be bothered with it. I mean, the whole thing is just utterly ridiculous. For crying out loud, people, grow up.
Headless chicken race.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. I mean, it's just painful. On the other hand, Northern Ireland is profiting from this whole Brexit. Uh-oh. I said the B word.
Oh, no.
Northern Ireland is actually profiting from Brexit because it's able to trade freely with the EU. Have I done a break yet?
No.
Oh, well, good job, eh? Because I was about to go yakking on. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Fucking places goes on inside that head of yours.
Robert texts, what happened to the Russia inquiry into meddling in the disaster that is Brexit Theresa May said would be published? Well, I think they did publish, didn't they? They published, they gave their results, and their opinion was that Russia did try its very hardest to insert itself into our Brexit process, just like they tried to insert themselves successfully into the process of getting you-know-who elected.
I'm president! Can you believe it?
No, we're still stunned, Donny. Still cannot get over it. And the upshot of the Russia inquiry was that the government was banged to rights, and the government says, the upshot of the Russian inquiry is that we are completely innocent in every way, shape and form. Nothing to see here, please move along, or words to that effect. Joanna texts, instead of making 91,000 civil servants redundant, why doesn't the government reduce the number of MPs and peers? Then you not only reduce the bill for salaries and allowances, but for their massive expenses too. Good idea, Joanna. What do you say, Bodge?
No.
No. No, not a chance. Firings are for the little people, not leprechauns. Oldbury, Ranjit.
Hi, Nick. You're all right, mate.
Yes, good, thanks.
Good. A few months ago, we talked about, and you did as well, about bringing in ID for voters and that.
Yes.
Yeah, that was to deter poor people from voting.
Correct.
Yeah, because they can't get a passport or whatever, this, that, and the other. But who do you think, the low turnout on this election, what kind of people didn't turn up?
Younger people. Younger people and poorer people. No, wait, not poorer people necessarily, but younger people. Younger people are less likely to have a photo ID because they ain't got passports and no kids are interested in driving anymore, so they haven't got a driving license. They want an Uber account, not a car.
Okay, so that would kind of help the Tories, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Instead of trying to force the IDs
They're just copying ideas from the Republican Party. That's precisely what the Republicans are doing. Next, they'll be shutting half of the polling stations in the country in order to save money, so that you will have to travel further in order to vote. I betcha.
They did that up where we live. People were struggling to find polling station. I want to get back to that Ian Anderson, where he says that he can make a meal for 30 pence.
This is not Ian Anderson at Jethro Tull.
Lee Anderson. Sorry, Lee Anderson.
Right.
Sorry, I apologise. He says he can make a meal for 30 pence that will keep you going. Now, somebody like you with your connections and
keep you going to the kitchen for more food.
No, but you should, get him, or we go to him and say, show us. I've been rattling my brains, and I run a fish and chip shop. I've been asking a lot of customers, look, what can you get for, 30 pence? Yeah, I mean, if you go to the shop, they'll charge you 10 pence for a carrier bag. So you've only got 20 pence left, right? Okay,
that's right. Yeah? That's right. So you got 20p left. Spend it wisely.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, these Conservatives, like people like Rees-Mogg and all them, they've shown us a lot of contempt in the past, and I think this is the pinnacle of the contempt that they're going to show us. I think, you know what, it can't get any worse. Forget about lying to the Queen. Forget about doing everything else. This was done straightforward, and I think somebody should challenge him and say, we're all going to come down, mate. You show us how you're going to... You can't even get the raw materials for 30 pence. I mean, the guy's a lunatic. And what's the matter with our people? Why are they... Right? I mean, look at the local elections. The whole country should have been painted red, but it still hasn't.
Amazing.
And like what you said, people are cutting their nose to spite their face. They're
still saying, oh, well, no, we can't vote for Labour because they're not ready for government yet. I mean, I just can't get my head around it. How much punishment do you people want to take?
So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is now, the masking people are saying about Sir Keir Starmer resigning. Look, he doesn't have to resign. I think
he does now. He has been painted into a corner. I mean, it's almost as though it was beyond his control, because the right-wing offshore billionaire press were just absolutely foaming at the mouth in order to get us to stop concentrating on Bodger and his various orgiastic shenanigans, and to start concentrating on something else. Anything else will do. And so they got that footage from outside that window. Who knows who came up with that? Maybe Starmer's got somebody trailing him at all times, just in case they can get a photograph of something disadvantageous. But that's what they went with. Please ignore the fines that the Prime Minister has already got. There's some bloke over here who might get one in the future. Let's concentrate on that.
Ian, but the thing is, he isn't in power, Say if he got a fine and he never resigned, then the electorate will have a choice, of whether they want him to go there or not. I think he's probably been a bit premature and says he will resign if he gets the fine. And
he was just pushed into saying it. They almost gave him no choice.
No, but if he's going to be the leader of our country, he should not be pushed into a corner, in my opinion, by the evil press, yeah? Because he should have said, listen, I'll wait till what the outcome is and then I'll see what I do. Okay, so, you know...
Which is what the Tories have been doing all along. Oh, well, we'll wait till the Sue Gray report. And, we can't talk about the Sue Gray report because then there's a separate police report. And we can't talk about the police report because there's a Sue Gray report. And it just goes around and around and around and around. And when both of those things are concluded, they will instigate another series of reports and inquiries into the reports and inquiries.